This program and its contents are designed for information and educational purposes only. This program does not render medical advice or professional services and is not intended to be a substitute for professional care. The information provided here should not be used for the purposes of diagnosing or treating a medical or psychiatric condition. If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, consult your healthcare provider.
Positive Momentum TV is brought to you by Movement Solutions.
Okay, we were just talking about how DBT is good for everyone to learn. You know, it's a great foundation for emotional intelligence, emotional well-being, and just learning how to deal with each other. And can you kind of run with this one again? I mean,
Well, this is one of the ways probably that my practice is different than some other practices. I don't get so much into searching for pathology and labeling people with disorders. What I do is I think of myself and my practice as the front line. I teach these skills first and see what's left. And so with the idea that I kind of, when people come in, I look at them for skills deficits. What skills do they have? What skills are they missing? If they have emotion regulation issues, then there's mood swings, or there's depression, or there's anxiety. All of those are mood disorders. So they would benefit from learning about emotion regulation skills, as well as some of the other skills that we have, that we teach as well. And so what I do is I look at the skills deficits and I see whether or not they exist for somebody, and if they do, then I put them in the skills group. We do the skills because there's no side effects with skills. There's nothing bad that's going to happen. They're going to, everyone who comes through tells me they learned something that's helpful for them in their life. And we have a lot of fun teaching them. So I do the skills first. And then if there's still sort of organic pathologies existing and the skills aren't getting to some of those issues, then we look at medication, with the hoping that we decrease the amount of medication that people need to be on. Many of my clients end up being able to decrease their meds after they've learned skills. It augments medication, but I think why not start with that first, because then you don't have to go through the side effects. Now, if there's somebody who can't get out of bed at all, they need their medicine to get to skills group. But if it's somebody who can make it to skills group, I can teach them the skills, I start there.
well, and you know, I'll be first to admit I've done DBT skills and still in DBT skills. And with that, I've been in for about I think it's been a little over a year now, probably. And you go through the skills a couple of times before you truly get the handle on them. And I could say for me, even sometimes when going through them 2 or 3 times, it's like I learn something new every time. And every time I come to learn something, it may not be what I expect, but it's very helpful, and it changes. So with that, is there, we talked about how this would be a good practice or skill to have for anybody. How would that look if we were able to, and this is the dream, is to be able to put this like in the schools or in a summer camp or, you know, whatever, so everyone has the ability to learn this emotional intelligence and how to deal with what they're thinking, feeling, and even how to deal with each other. Can you kind of speak to that for a moment?
I feel like to really understand how this fits in, it helps to understand one of the underpinnings of the philosophy behind DBT, which is that Linehan says that the symptoms of the disorder that DBT was originally meant to treat developed because of biosocial issues, meaning biological, genetic differences in human beings, and environmental issues, and one other element, which is invalidation, or what's called an invalidating environment. An invalidating environment is an environment when your personal responses to life, your personal experiences, your emotional experiences are not validated by the environment. When that happens chronically to somebody, they will have more symptoms related to the 4 skills we teach than if they've been in a validating environment.
Okay.
So there are many ways that we can be invalidated as children. You can be invalidated because there's physical abuse going on, emotional abuse going on. You can be invalidated because there's the death of a parent. Even though it's not about blaming people, it's just some things happen in life where we are not able to validate a child the way they need to be validated. It's a way of helping them understand their own reactions to life, and if parents are impaired in their emotion regulation skills or abilities, then that's going to be passed on to a child. Or if a child is born very emotional into an intellectual family, then that can be invalidating. You can feel invalidation if you've been adopted into a family and it's not a good fit. There can be invalidation in an alcoholic home. There's invalidation in sexism and racism. We don't validate men with their emotions at all. We don't teach men how to have other emotions besides maybe anger. They're allowed to have that. So there's lots of different ways we're invalidated in society, but we don't, when that happens, then human beings don't learn how to go inside, feel their feelings, regulate them in response to the world. What they learn instead is that they need to change the world outside of them in some way, which then contributes to using power and control, having an other person focus instead of an internal focus. In DBT, I say we're teaching people how to be more their authentic self. You know, is to go inside and understand what they feel.
We can go in so many different directions with this. I mean, I was just thinking, you know, when you were talking about the adoption portion, and, you know, it's not just the adoption portion, but basically one of the things DBT teaches us, or at least teaches me, is how to deal with whatever environment I'm in, because I have to look within.
Positive Momentum TV is brought to you by Movement Solutions.